I'm JayArr with BoLS, and
Chris.
Welcome! We are taking a look at the second half of the Codex Drukhari. We're going through all of the Cabal obsessions, the Stratagems, Relics, Warlord traits, and all that good stuff.
Indeed.
Yeah, so let's take a look. First up, we have the faction rules. So everyone gets objective secured. That's the pretty standard thing. That's the Vanguard of the Dark City, it's called. But also, interestingly enough, they have the raiding force rule, which you might have seen previewed on the internet before. If you have at least 3 patrol detachments, you get extra command points. If you have at least 6, you get like 8. It's an interesting rule that's really going to shake up the way things play in the tournaments.
And it kind of fits their, they talked about this in the preview, how it kind of fits their, multi-faction, divide whenever they go out on a real space raid, and you're going to have a little bit from this Cabal, a little bit from this Cabal, kind of fits that mantra a little bit. But yeah, like you said, it's going to play out really weird in match play because most tournaments play by three detachments is the limit at 2,000 points. So whether or not Drukhari players get access to this, it still remains to be seen. I think we probably get away with 3 battalions easy with how many points reduction we have.
Oh, for sure.
But, it's a cool little flavorful thing.
Having command points, especially for these guys, is great. Like,
we got some good ones.
You're gonna want to burn through them. But first, let's take a look at the different obsessions that the Drukhari get. They're the faction special rules. It's one thing that I noticed is kind of cool. They're split up. So you have the Cabal, Witch Cult, and Homunculus Coven. They each have their own different thing. Like you were saying, they want to mix and match.
Yep. Yeah, they Dark Eldar are unique in that they have really unique sub factions that are very you want to take a bunch of different things.
So let's go through some of them.
Yeah.
What are some of the standout ones for the Cabals?
All right, so nothing new really in the obsessions, because every single one of these obsessions has been previewed on Warhammer Community already. Sorry, there's no new ones in here, but these are really good. I like them. They, one of the things Dark Eldar players have been yearning for this whole, for a long time now, since 8th edition dropped, is just traits, just obsessions, right? And these are very flavorful, very cool. So we got Cabal of the Black Heart, which will amp up the turn tracker on Power from Pain. It's pretty cool. So from turn 1, you've got re-rolling advances and charges on top of Feel No Pain. So all right, that's pretty cool.
That's really good, yeah.
And we got Flayed Skull, which is probably, in my opinion, probably one of the better ones. It's real flexible. It's got a lot of cool, unique things on there. We got the extra movement on all your units that have fly. Their weapon attacks ignore cover, and things that have fly, or things that are in a transport that have fly, get to reroll hits of 1 when attacking with rapid fire weapons.
That's pretty cool, especially since the Raider. Yeah, right.
The Raider Venoms get that because they have rapid fire weapons. All of your Cabalite warrior units inside the Raiders getting to reroll 1s to hit, so you don't have to worry about having an Archon around. Super powerful, very good unit obsession right there.
That's super cool. We also have the
Poison Tongue.
Yeah.
Poison Tongue. We got rerolling rolls of 1 made for melee weapons and poison weapons made with this obsession. Doesn't apply to artifacts like a lot of things in this book. So yeah, that's a really cool ability.
And then finally, there's the Obsidian Rose, which increases the range of your weapons by 6 inches, so you can.
So yeah, all assault, rapid fire, and heavy weapons all get that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Let's take a look at the Witch Cult obsessions.
Witch Cult's my favorite. All right, so we got the big mother one, which is the one that Lilith is in charge of, the Cult of Strife. Naturally, just a blur of motion, just all kinds of attacks. So all units Cult of Strife that get charged, or make a heroic intervention, +1 attack, straight across the board.
Really good. Or there's the Cult of the Cursed Blade, which lets you increase the strength characteristic of your models by 1, so you can hit just a little bit harder, and also you become a little bit more immune to morale. You only lose 1 model whenever you fail a leadership check.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Cult of the Red Grief. This is like the name of this is called Speed of the Kill, which is pretty awesome. Lets all of your units with this exception advance and charge, so you can just be...
Oh, wow.
And reroll failed charges, too, so you can just blindingly fast. One of the things that's been talked about on the internet so far is just Reavers moving 18, blitzing 8, and then charging.
Yeah, holy
super
cow.
Fast.
Talk about your turn 1, get in there.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have the Homunculus Coven. So the Witch Cults and the Homunculus Covens, they only have three
yep.
different ones, but they're all, like, those ones are all really good. I would be hard-pressed to choose from them. And similarly, like, the Prophets of Flesh, they have their Connoisseurs of Pain, which ups their invulnerable save to a 4-up instead of a 5-up.
Yeah, any model that has Insensible to Pain, it gets increased to a 4+, which I think is a huge improvement on Coven units. All of a sudden, your Racks, your Taluses, and your Grotesques having a 4-up instead of a 5-up.
Oh, absolutely.
So good.
The next one is a little bit... I mean, it's cool. Enemy units subtract 1 from leadership for each unit that's within 6 inches of theirs, up to -3.
Yeah.
But
there are some cool things you can do if you really want to play around with kind of like a leadership bomb type list. These are the guys to go to. You could do this a little bit back in 6th edition with some formations to be able to stack minuses. This is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So not terrible, but it's definitely a different play style.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got the Coven of 12, Butchers of Flesh. This one's actually very solid. Increase the armor penetration characteristic of all melee weapons by 1. So if you already have if you have a 0, it goes to -1 and etc. It doesn't work on artifacts of cruelty, but so yeah, if you want to be able to do more damage, which is kind of one of the things that Covens have things to struggle with, this will help out a lot. So cool. Very solid obsession.
Those are all of the obsessions. You can mix and match them, and then we move into stratagems. Now, there are a ton of stratagems in this book because there's a whole bunch of generic Drukhari stratagems. There's also stratagems that are reprints of Eldar stratagems because, go figure. Across the board,
we got Fire and Fade in here, Lightning Fast Reflexes,
the Webway Portal,
Screaming Jets, which is like the same thing but for vehicles. These have been previewed already, and we got the one for falling back out of combat and firing, just like Eldar do.
Absolutely. There are also the unique to each Cabal, Coven, or Cult stratagems as well, which gives us 33 stratagems all in all.
I think that's probably the most of any Codex so far.
I believe so. And again, so you can see why you want those 8 extra command points. Let's talk about some of the cool ones. We're not going to go through all of them because 33...
Way too many, yeah.
No one's got that kind of time.
All right, so on the first page, and we're not going to talk about the ones that have been in a preview already because you guys have already seen that or can see it on the Warhammer Community's website. I will talk about some of the ones that I find really cool, or maybe some of the duds. But this one right here is probably one of my favorites so far. It's not super good, but it's bringing back one of my favorite abilities. So this is for any Witch Cult unit that has Fly. So we're talking Reavers and Hellions. If it moves over an enemy in any phase. You can, choose the enemy unit and roll a d6 for each model in your unit, adding +1 if it's an infantry unit, and then on a roll of 6+, they take a mortal wound.
Oh, that's really cool.
So this kind of harkens back to the Reavers, running over people as they're flying by. It's very cool. I like it a lot.
Absolutely.
We got standard Webway Portal, which is really good.
Yeah, Fire and Fade, also really good. There's the... Did they preview the Hyperstim Backlash?
They did. Yeah, this is the basically doubling up on,
really
combat drugs, which is pretty cool. So you can get... you can get Cult of Strife, 3 attack witches, +1 from Cult of Strife, +1 from combat drugs, and then throw on another one with this stem stratagem. So we're talking all the attacks.
Exactly.
It's pretty good.
So if you want to turn your unit into a Cuisinart, that's the way to do it.
Exactly. All right, so moving on here.
All right.
All right, so these have been all these have been. So we got Aether Cells back in a form of a stratagem. So it's no longer war gear. So basically, you can spend a command point, and a Raider or Ravager, when it advances, can just go automatic 8 instead of rolling a die. So that's pretty good. Move pretty fast. The best one in the Codex.
Oh, absolutely.
Possibly of the game. I'm gonna go ahead and say probably the game. 3 CPs. This was previewed this morning on Warhammer Community. It's a Cabal of the Blackheart stratagem that effectively on a 2-up denies your opponent the use of one of their stratagems. On a 1, it doesn't work. 2 through 5, it stops them, but it doesn't. They don't spend any CPs. On a 6, it stops them, and they have to spend their CPs. Absolutely, just a super powerful stratagem.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's something that I feel like the game has kind of needed is a way to like counter, like to have some counterplay for whatever your enemy's stratagem is. So for instance, if your Dark Reapers are trying to fire and fade,
boom, no, you're not doing that.
No, you're not. You're staying right there.
Just all kinds of things pop up in my head that you can stop, like a key, even a key command reroll.
Absolutely.
Like to prevent something from happening, or something you're just like, no.
Now 3 CP does make
it is
incredibly costly.
Pretty steep, but I feel like through how cheap things are now, and through getting command points back in certain ways, which we're going to go over in a minute. 3 might be, it's a fair price to pay for being able to shut down some of the most powerful stratagems in the game.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Poison Tongue stratagem, which is basically a 2 CP to pick up 3 units, 3 Cabal Poison Tongue units, and redeploy them. So that's a handy unit.
That's pretty cool. Have they shown this one off?
Yeah, we've gone over this one, and that one.
All right.
We got some booby traps, so it's very similar to Catachan, so that's kind of hilarious. That's for Cult of the Cursed Blade.
I like the Athletic Aerialists one.
Yeah. So this one's fun. So I remember if this was 7th edition when the Marines could get out, shoot, and get back in. Maybe that's this current edition. Maybe
I don't think they can do that in this edition. But
it's definitely a thing before. So anyway, for Cult of Red Grief, which is the speed guys, 2 CPs, and after you consolidate, you can consolidate back into a vehicle.
Yeah, well, and
super cool.
So specifically, you instead of moving towards the nearest enemy, you can consolidate 6 inches towards your transport. So you can hop out, kill a bunch of guys, and then get back in before your turn.
And you got that 3-inch bubble too, so as long as you get everybody within 3 inches, they get in.
I really like that. I think that gives
fun.
them some cool options, especially since the Dark Eldar, the Drukhari are very fragile.
Yes. These have been previewed already.
Let's take a look at this last. Oh, that's all of them.
Yeah, that was all the stratagems. So we made it through those.
So that's the big ones. There's a lot of cool stratagems that you'll find in the book. You'll find them previewed on Warhammer Community. We've done write-ups as well. But
there's quite a few repeats from Craft World, like we talked about.
A lot of tactical options that you can play. I think the Dark Eldar have one of the coolest tactical toolboxes out there right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun using them.
Let's talk artifacts.
Artifacts of Cruelty. All right, so this very first one, Parasite's Kiss, was in chapter approved already. So all Dark Eldar players are already
back. Yep.
That's a solid pistol. I like that one a lot. The Djinn Blade makes a comeback.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. So this is Archons with a Husk Blade only, so it replaces the Husk Blade. Keeps the same stat line as a Husk Blade, so +1 strength, AP -3, D3 damage. Each time you fight, you gain 2 additional attacks, and then at the end of the fight phase, on a 1, you roll a D6, and on a 1, you take a mortal wound as it fights back and stabs the wielder, so it's pretty cool. This right here is actually probably, I think, the most powerful one in the artifacts that we have available to us now. Helm of Spite. Something that Dark Eldar severely lack is psychic protection.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The bearer can attempt to deny a psychic power, just like as if you were a psyker. So being within 24 inches and roll higher than them. In addition, if you successfully deny the witch, the psyker attempting to manifest suffers perils of the war.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
That right there is that is a top-notch A+ relic. Yeah. Not only do you shut them down, but you can mortal wound or possibly even finish off an enemy psyker, because if they suffer perils of the warp and that kills them, then they explode. So
I love this.
That's really good.
I love this. All right, so then we got Nightmare Doll, which is homunculus only. Whenever you make an Inure to Suffering roll, which is the power from pain, 6 up, feel no pain, the bearer can roll a 4+ instead of 6+. Very cool.
Ah, very cool. Very cool.
Next up is Animus Vitae. Yeah, this one's terrible. I'm not even going to talk about it. Triptych Whip. This is Succubus with an Agonizer only. This is not bad. So it's got the Agonizer profile, and each time you swing, 3 additional attacks. Pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
So wounding on a 4+, poison weapon, AP -2, 1 damage. Very solid weapon. All right, now we're getting into some of the
like Cabal or Coven or cult specific ones.
Yeah, the specific ones. This one, I really like this one because I'm going to be playing Cabal of the Blackheart. Archon only. Writ of the Living Muse. Reroll wound rolls of 1 for friendly Cabal of Blackheart units within 6 inches of the bearer. Put on a Archon of Cabal of Blackheart, you're going to be rerolling hits and wounds of 1. It's very cool.
Wow. Very cool. Very, very cool.
Soul Seeker is a pistol that was previewed on Warhammer. It's a pretty cool, like, shoot characters out of line of sight and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. Armor of Misery. Archon from the Obsidian Rose Cabal. Very nice. 3+ save and subtract 1s to hit in the fight phase. Super solid piece of armor right there.
A great candidate for your I'm spending a command point for an extra relic.
Exactly.
One after you've taken that Helm of Spite.
Yep. All right, we got the Obsidian Veil, Archon of the Flayed Skull. First time your model fails the invulnerable save and its shadow field ceases to function, immediately gains a 4+ invulnerable save for the remainder of the battle. That super crucial for me because I fail the shadow field first roll every time.
Yeah, nothing like that. All right, I got a 2-up invulnerable save. 1.
Yep.
Great, now it's gone.
Exactly.
Hooray!
I fail it every time.
Yep. Then there's the File Bouquet, which is one of the ways that you can give even more combat drugs to your Cult of Strife guys for your succubus. It's basically roll a d6 at the start of each battle round to randomly determine a combat drug until the start of the battle round. Your succubus gets that in addition to any other combat drug bonuses.
It's a good way to double up on some combat drugs. Pretty awesome. Then we got Traitor's Embrace, Cult of the Cursed Blade, succubus only. I love this one. I'm gonna talk about it even if since it was previewed.
It's good.
If your bearer is slain in fight phase on a 2-up, the model that killed it suffers d6 mortal wounds after it finishes making all of its attacks. It's very like, oh, you killed me. Just explodes and kills him. I love it.
And then there's the Blood Glaive, which is a Cult of the Red Grief artifact, and it replaces an Archite Glaive, which it does a couple of important things. It's a little stronger, but it also does not have the -1 to hit, which is
super cool.
Which is also super important. Because one of the things that the Cult of the Red Grief can do is get extra hits on a 6.
Yeah, actually, now that I look at it, that is not true. I think I told you wrong earlier, because I think that's Blood Dancer, which is Strife only.
Okay, never mind then.
Yeah, so not too bad. Yeah, we would have wished that the Archive Glaive didn't have the -1 on it, but if you're playing Red Grief, no -1.
Now it
it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're looking into Coven stuff. Vexator Mask. I actually really like this one. This one's
this one's really cool.
Prophets of Flesh, homunculus only. Enemy models cannot fire Overwatch to the bearer. That right there,
pretty good.
Pretty solid.
But then also, there's more.
In addition, at the start of the each fight phase, select an enemy unit within 6 inches. That unit cannot fight until all other units have fought. Like you in the back, go sit in the back. You don't get to do anything.
Yeah, which is super important. One of the hardest things in 8th edition right now is like managing the order of activation in the fight phase, because your opponent, if they've got 2 command points free, can interrupt and be like, no, I'm making sure that one of my units gets to fight at full strength or before you kill them. You can shut that down with this thing.
And it does have some caveats in there as far as like if your unit already has, always fights first. Basically, that means it'll cancel out. They just fight as normal. So it's pretty. I like that one. That's a lot. Real cool.
There's Spirit Sting, which is for the Dark Creed homunculus guys. It replaces their Stinger pistol with a slightly more powerful Stinger pistol, which is AP -4.
And most importantly, that right there,
you don't get invulnerable saves for this weapon. So that's a really good way of shutting down a lot of things.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, there's the Flensing Blade.
Coven of 12 homunculus only. So the Flensing Blade replaces the homunculus's tools. It's basically his close combat weapons. Effectively, what this is AP -2 D3 damage. Add 1 to the one to the wound rolls, so you're wounding on 3+. except against vehicles. And if you're targeting characters, damage automatically goes to 3.
Yeah, instead
Not
of
bad.
a D3 damage. Pretty solid way of taking out characters. The Drukhari have a lot of ways of getting at characters.
So one of the things I just wanted to reiterate real quick is, out of all of these artifacts, only one of them's bad.
Yeah.
You can only take some of them depending on what obsessions you take, but I feel like overall, I think there's only one bad one.
Yeah. Let's talk Warlord traits real quick, and we'll bring it in for a landing.
So we've got 3 generic trait tables here. They're only D3 trait tables. We got 3 for Cabal, 3 for Cult, 3 for Homunculus Covens. And then we got specific ones for each of the Cults, Cabals, and Covens.
Absolutely. So that while each of them only does have 3, you are still getting 9 generic Warlord traits total. You're getting 6 Cult and Coven traits, and then 4 Cabal ones as well. So yeah,
it's a lot.
Oh man, a lot to work with. You can really build custom armies very well with these guys.
So we got Hatred Eternal, changed from the chapter approved version, which is reroll all failed wounds for this Warlord. That right there is pretty cool. I mean, that just doesn't specify fight phase or anything.
No, it's just his in general.
Pistol, his blaster, pretty solid.
Super crucial if you're using something like a blaster, which is much better in this edition. Yeah. There's Soul Thirst, which gives you an extra attack, and as long as you've been charged, or heroically intervened. In addition, anytime you kill someone in the fight phase, you get a wound. So awesome. Charge your Warlord in, carve things up, get better, do it again.
And specifically, that's each time they slay an enemy model.
Yes.
You kill 3 or 4 guys.
That's 3 or 4 wounds back.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a great way to keep your Warlord alive.
Ancient Evil. The opposing player must roll an extra die when taking morale tests for units within 3 inches of this Warlord and use the highest result. It's a little bit of morale manipulation there. It's not bad.
Then there's the Witch Cult traits. There's Quicksilver Fighter, which your Warlord always goes first. Pretty standard. We've seen that before in a ton of different things.
I like this one right here. This was probably the best generic one in my mind. Stim Addict. Before the battle, when determining the bonus, basically you get to roll twice, or alternatively, you can just pick 2 different bonuses from the roll chart and apply to your Warlord.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Also cool are Precision Blows. Every time you do a wound roll of 6 up for this Warlord in a fight phase, your target suffers a mortal wound in addition to the normal damage.
Very solid. I like it.
Yeah, especially since there's a number of ways of loading up a Witch Cult guy with multiple attacks.
Oh yeah.
So that one could be really spicy. Let's talk about the Coven Warlord traits.
All right. Master Regenis. This one's pretty straightforward. I think this one is actually in the chapter approved as well. Warlord regains D3 lost wounds at the start of each turn.
Man, pretty solid.
Yeah.
You've got Master Nemesine, which lets you add 1 to all wound rolls for your Warlord in the fight phase. Also really good.
Yep.
And then finally we've got Master Artisan.
Reroll your inured to suffering rolls of 1 for friendly Coven models within 6 inches. So
not bad.
Rerolling 1s for your Feel No Pain. All right.
Now we get into the specific traits here. We've got a few to get through. There's the Cabal of the Black Heart. This is probably the best one, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
While your Warlord is alive, you roll a d6 each time you or your opponent spends a command point, and on a 6 you get that command point.
Very, very strong.
Especially with all of the stratagems out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you imagine going to the table, you've got 12, your opponent's got 12, you're like, all right, we're going to get some command points back.
Pretty much.
All right, Cabal the Poison Tongue. Friendly Cabal the Poison Tongue units use this Warlord's leadership while they were within 12 inches of them.
Yeah. Not bad, but also I wouldn't go out of my way to... the generic ones seem a lot stronger.
Exactly.
There's Deathly Perfectionist for the Cabal of the Obsidian Rose, which... this one is really good. It increases the damage characteristics of weapons other than artifacts used by your Warlord by 1. So that's real solid.
Pistols, blasters, melee weapons, solid.
Yeah.
All of a sudden your Huskblade is doing D3 plus 1. That's pretty good.
Really good. There's also the Cabal of the Flayed Skulls trait.
Increase this Warlord's strength and attack characteristics by 1 during any turn in which they charged, were charged, or made a heroic intervention. I like it.
Also, super solid. I mean, it mimics the effects of a lot of the psychic powers, which you otherwise wouldn't have.
Right.
Then there's stuff like Cult of Strifes, the Blood Dancer one, which lets you get 3 hits instead of 1 hit anytime you make a hit roll of 6+ for your Warlord during the fight phase.
Cult of the Red Grief. They're super fast. +1 to normal saves made for this Warlord.
Super solid.
All right.
And then finally, there's the Cult of the Cursed Blades Warlord trait. Every time you roll an unmodified saving throw of 6, you bounce during your fight phase. You bounce that attack back on your enemy. Basically, they take a mortal wound after they've finished all of their attacks.
Good reflection thing. I like it.
Yeah.
Then we've got Prophets of Flesh. Once per battle, you can reroll a single hit, wound, saving throw, or damage roll for your Warlord. In addition, if your army is battle forged, roll a d3 before the battle begins, and you gain additional command points equal to the result.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Solid.
Especially if you're using the stratagem that lets you give a Warlord trait to your
literally
Archon.
Break even on that one. I like it.
At least. Then there's the Dark Creed's Fear Incarnate, which you...
So this kind of ties into their whole leadership manipulation?
Absolutely. You roll 2d6 for each enemy within 3 inches of your Warlord at the start of the fight phase. If your result exceeds the highest leadership characteristic in that unit, it suffers a mortal wound. It means you want your Warlord to be up in there, in amongst as many stuff as it can, because only 1 mortal wound is not that great. You want to spread that damage out, but really solid stuff.
And then Covenant of the 12. Reduce all damage inflicted on your Warlord by 1. Straight up, very good.
Pretty cool. And then, of course, each of the named characters has their own special trait.
So Drazar gets the reroll to wounds.
Lilith gets the hit 3 times on a 6-up.
And Urian gets the Diabolical Soothsayer, which is the command trait one.
Yeah.
So very cool.
And that is the Warlord traits, and they don't have any psychic powers, so
yeah, right.
that's everything. So all in all, real solid stuff. I think this offers a lot of customization options for a Dark Eldar player.
Yes.
If you want to build your army, especially your Warlord, the way you want. You really can. It's a trend we've really seen nailed in the Necron Codex.
Yeah. And
now it's kind of carrying through to the next. So I'm excited to see. Like Night Warlord traits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's gonna be stupid. Anyway, I'm JayArr.
Chris.
Thanks for watching Bell of Lost Souls.
Click to subscribe. Support us on Patreon. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.